Hi guys and welcome. As a kid, I loved two smells in particular. The smell of unburned fuel from the exhaust, well, it makes me a real petrol head. And the second is related to that, is the smell of the freshly laid tarmac. And today we're going to talk about the latter, because we are here on the freshly laid tarmac on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Almost 3 months ago, back in November, I published a video where I explained the construction works of 2018-2019 of the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and back then I was joined by Alexander, the official spokesperson, representative of the Nürburgring, who I asked a couple of questions. Unfortunately, he's not here today, but he will be available hopefully later this week, and I only had two questions for him. First of all, as you can see, the construction works are almost done. So the main question is, will the track be open? And the second, actually, rumor, which a lot of people have, is that because these are the most costly and massive construction works in many years, many decades even, will the track remain open the whole year round for public, because there is no necessity for any further construction works? For that, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because that video will come out later where we're gonna ask him that. And if you have any additional questions that you'd like to ask them in the comments. But now going back to the star of today's show, and of course is the Nürburgring Nordschleife, but in particular this section, Schwedenkreuz. That's the most controversial section that was talked about, because if you have driven the Nürburgring, if you're a regular, then it requires no explanation. But if you haven't, we are now actually standing on a place where there was a very controversial bump, or actually which made it very much demanding, very much exciting. And since it was gone, all the purists started like screaming like, oh my god, now it's like so easy, they take away all the excitement of the track. Well, I can tell you absolutely not. The excitement is still going to be there, and it's going to be a lot more safer. So actually, I hope my camera is able to capture this, how absolutely flat this surface is. And we already drove down from there towards, along the track, and we saw that, again, there is no bump. So you can actually approach the track even faster. Possibly, if your car and your skill allows you to. It would be good if we can try the bump here, though. Yeah, we're not allowed to drive any faster than 80 kilometers an hour due to safety regulations, but you can see it's perfectly flat. It is perfectly flat, so no bump as predicted. So this will definitely not take away the excitement. But what makes myself actually excited and happy is because the left side of the track, again, if you've driven the track, it was very bumpy, very unstable, so there were no possibilities for overtakings. And this means when there's going to be races taking place like VLN or RCN, it's a nice spot for do some overtakings, or if there is a truck driving. But during the public sessions there are no trucks driving. Those are just less trucks that are finishing up the construction works. Now, apart from all the possibilities for overtakings, let us walk a bit more down there, and you can see the crest. That's actually where a lot of beginners' mistakes were made, because people thought, oh, okay, I can reach speeds of almost 300 kilometers. I believe Porsche 918 did 304 kilometers on its record lap run. So you think, okay, it must be still okay and fine. But there you can see now, because of the new tarmac, because of the way it's shaped, you can see that there's actually a crest coming down. And instinctively, you're going to be thinking, okay, let's chill out. Maybe there is something that I should slow down for. So I hope that it's going to eliminate lots of accidents from the beginners who become overconfident from driving the track, overexcited. That's very good. And again, for all the complainers who have been saying, yeah, too bad the bump is gone, I don't think it is a bad thing. Absolutely not. If I see the condition of the tarmac, how flat it is, how even it is, all the possibilities that it offers now, it is absolutely great. Well, that's about it. I guess let's take a drive down to show you how it looks like, and then continue on to the next section. But first, let us take a step back towards Hatzenbach, which is roughly 2.5 kilometers into the start of the track. And here, as you can see, the tarmac is still good old tarmac, so nothing has been changed here. But what has been changed is addition of extra FIA fencing. And once we go a bit further down the road, you will see that it's actually necessary in case a car would fly over the barrier, because it goes very much steep downhill. Now, there is one more thing, however, that I want to show you, because it's a pretty cool occasion. For the last 2 weeks, I believe, we had roughly 16 degrees centigrade, which was actually pretty warm. But you can see that it hasn't snowed for 3 weeks or maybe even 4 weeks, but there is still ice on the track. And this actually shows that, again, Nürburgring is most demanding racetrack in the world for its aspect, because it's so big. So one part of the track, it could be shining, other part it could be hailing or snowing, and on the other part it could be ice. So once you're gonna do your first laps of the Nürburgring Nordschleife Touristenfahrten this year, make sure again to take it easy the first couple of laps to warm up your tires, because here maybe they should rename this part of the track to Ice Curve. And now we're gonna jump into our amazing Beast of the Green Hell AMG to show it to you how it looks from the driver's perspective once you drive here, because I remember last year when the FIA fencing was added in the section of Bergwerk and Kesselchen, the first couple of weeks were like, yeah, this looks strange, all the reference points are gone. So let's hop in and have a look. Right, always important to stay off the grass, of course. Interesting thing, I thought that the fencing would be moved closer to the track, but it's actually not. You can see it's old barrier, but here it starts to be new and fresh one. I believe the tire wall, yes, the tire wall is obviously very close to the track limit right now, so you will have absolutely no runoff. So again, be extra cautious. Don't try to impress anyone, because you cannot impress anyone. You can make everybody laugh, however. Now, and the fencing stops at the orange barrier, which is also your reference point. That's about it. You can see from here, actually, it's very steep downhill. So again, that's the reason why the fencing has been placed there in the first place. Here we are, the start of the new tarmac already.
Stop at Schwedenkreuz?
Yeah, maybe even here, that would be good enough.
Difficult to park the car somewhere in the gravel.
We could drive further down, otherwise. It would be good if we can try the bump here, though. Yeah, we're not allowed to drive any faster than 80 kilometers an hour due to safety regulations, but you can see it's perfectly flat. It is perfectly flat, so no bump as predicted. That's where the new part ends. Actually, very nice transition. There is no bump, so that's good. Still obviously approach it with the extra caution in the rain when you change from new tarmac to different grip level. I must say it's the first lap in my life that I've seen so many traffic coming in the opposite way. Good line there, not going straight through Adenauer Forest. You can already see that there's new barrier. Thanks, James. Now, unfortunately, they're still working at the Cullenhart section, so we will not be able to show it to you from a driver's perspective because we will not be able to drive through the whole section. But what I can already show you is where the tarmac transition starts, which is here. And don't worry, it looks like very rough, but the thing is, this is the base layer before the actual layer of tarmac, so they're still working on it, so it will be not that rough, obviously. Now, when we go further down, the most important thing you need to know is that the tarmac transition starts way before any braking zone or whatnot, so there will be no difference in the tarmac structure in the layer. So the grip level will be the same. Of course, again, reminder, if it's your first lap of the year, if it's your first lap ever, do not try to go crazy. Take the slowest lap possible to get familiar with the track, familiar with grip levels, and just enjoy the track. Again, do not chase any lap times, because, I mean, most importantly, that's prohibited in the first place, but it's also very bad for your health. Next to me is, by the way, Bruno, who, apart from being our photographer, actually used to do some construction work, road works, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us something about the characteristics of the tarmac after the first couple of days? How are the grip levels?
I'm pretty sure that it will take like between 4 to 5 days to take the main greases out, and as soon as like 5 days of complete full driving, it will be much better, because you can see that the structure is actually very solid, and they still need to do the last layer, which is very fine, and that's what gives drivers the ability to actually corner very fast. So yeah.
So unlike some people saying like that it takes months to be grippy because there's some grease or tarmac oil, it's basically 5 days and then it's good. So after the first VLN race, probably everything will be at optimal.
The first VLN, it's crazy because even especially VLN, really wide tires, sticky tires, and people overtaking in all kinds of parts of the track, it will be much better because all the fat itself will go out. So it's minutes, not months, definitely not months.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. Okay, let's take a closer look here. Unfortunately, my camera is not well enough to show you the actual banking, but again, now you can see it a lot better. It's funny, I must say that from my perspective right now, this section seems wider than it is in the car. And most of the other sections, especially like, for example, the previous one where we were at Hudsenbach, it seems when you're on foot, a lot narrower than when you're in the car. Then you start to realize how narrow it is. But here it's the opposite way around. However, again, don't be fooled. Now, if you don't recognize this part of the track, it's okay, because we're driving in the opposite direction to access the other part of the track, because they're laying currently tarmac and well, Cullenhart, Miss. And I think, although this has nothing to do with construction, this particular segment of this video, I think it's always fun to show how the track looks if you would drive it in the opposite direction. Especially if Fuchsrohre looks very inviting, I would say. By doing so, you realize how long the descent is, or in our case, the climb. And now we're approaching Arenberg, and we will see again how flat the surface is at Schwedenkreuz. Preparations for the curbstones. close the tire wall is at Hatzenbach. Driving on the main street, Döttingehöhe on the opposite direction. Devil's Diner, cannot wait to taste their burgers when the season starts. And again, also now you see the banking. However, in TF you will not have any benefit or disadvantage in that because you already have to slow down to enter, or well, enter the car park or exit the track. And here again you can see how steep Flanzkarten is. And the same goes for Flanzkarten 1, the last real jump. Whee! So here we are halfway through the climb towards Hohe Acht. That's where the new tarmac starts. The grass is gone, so it looks like that we are somewhere in Qatar. And that's it. Alright, so now we are on the top of Hohe Acht, and that's where the tarmac transition is, for reference, where we are. One thing I want to show you, except for the new tarmac and the cleaning works, actually, first of all here, this escape path, and by the way, if you have a technical defect or an accident, look out for orange barriers, because you have obviously lots of barriers, but orange barrier means that there's an emergency exit where you can park safely behind the barrier. So what I want to show you is that it actually has a new tarmac as well, the emergency exit, which is nice, but actually here, for some reason, the grass is gone. Probably they had to, they had to get rid of it for some construction works. I don't know the details, but worry not, because when we take a closer look, the ground is full with grass seeds. We can see it here even better, actually. So let's see how long it's going to take. Very interesting. Today's 25th of February, so let's start counting for sake of science, to find out how long it takes to grow grass on the Nürburgring, whether the Nürburgring ground is more fertile than others. Oh, where is Martin from Tourifotos when you need him? Well, that's it. It's time to say goodbye to the Nordschleife for today. I'm sorry we were not able to capture the construction works at Exmühle, but this is something for next time, so make sure to stay tuned. Two final things I want to say. A lot of questions, always the comments are like, oh, does this mean that the lap records are going to be invalid now? Go with the time. I explained it with the previous video with the construction works. It's not something you should be bothered with. And second of all, most importantly, this video was done on invitation and approval by the Nürburgring themselves. So do not go and walk on the track by yourself to make some fancy pictures, because this is dangerous. You saw it yourself. There was still traffic driving, and well, stay safe out there, whether you're on the track or off the track. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next time at the Nürburgring or on my channel.